Okay, today we are going to examine work habits, both good and bad, in the workplace, and we're going to do an overview of how stereotypes impact the workplace. Our vocab for today is protected class, protected classes, categories for which it is illegal to harass, stereotype, or discriminate against. Illegal for certain protected categories. And generational stereotyping, assigning characteristics, stereotypes, to different generations. In the previous lessons, we went over considerations on jobs in general, classified jobs into different classifications. In this lesson, we're going into, again, habits and stereotyping in the workplace, and in future lessons, we will look deeper into illegal discrimination and illegal harassment. Now, a major note worth mentioning up front is that stereotyping is less effective than letting someone tell their own story. It has been shown to be much more effective in understanding the truth of reality and having a better map of reality in your own mind if one does not stereotype and takes the time to let individuals be individuals. That creates a better map of reality as one views it. So let's spend a second going over some habits in the workplace, both good and bad. Now, at some point during this talk, you are going to say, well, isn't this obvious and isn't this so straightforward? And yeah, it is pretty obvious and it is pretty straightforward. But if it's so obvious, then why are so many workers so bad at following through with good behavior, and so, let's say, oblivious or eager to engage in bad behavior at their workplace? Perhaps it's worth thinking about. Perhaps it's worth talking about. Perhaps bringing it forward and discussing it and maybe giving pep talks in our own brain could help alleviate some of the bad behavior, because it seems so easy for people to just behave in ways that reflect poorly upon themselves, hurt their own career, and quite frankly make them and everyone else around them quite miserable. So let's get into it. Good behavior at the workplace, early and ready to go. A lot of these good and bad behaviors, I'm not going to lie, I've had some talks with business owners, and a lot of them come from my business owning friend who tells me he hires a lot of fresh out of community college trained people, and they go out to the workplace. And, quite frankly, even though they've probably had some jobs in high school, now it's the real deal. And we had a lot of conversations, and he has a lot to say about his new hires, and not hardly any of it is good. So a lot of these good and bad behaviors, come directly from him. The guy who fires people and gets new ones for these behaviors. His famous quote is, "You're there to make him money. And when you make him money, you get money too." I mean, that's really, it's a tough, sticky wicket to go through and to game to play. Your work is your source of income. It's not a game. It's not a party. It's not your hangout place. But it's tough because it is the place where you spend like a fourth of your time of the week. And oftentimes you interact more with people at your work than you do outside of work. And so we have set up a system that feels like it's your game, your party, your hangout place, because you're spending so much time there and you're around so many people, but it's not supposed to be. And how do those two things fit together? Well, for a lot of people, not very well. They lose professionalism and fall far too into the bad behaviors. Now, I will be honest. I am of the idea that work is work. When I go to work, I want to engage in appropriate professional work relationships and spend my time not engaging in bad behavior. Now, this might be easier for me because I don't tend to interact with people nor do I very much like interacting with people. So a lot of the bad behaviors I naturally don't want to do anyway. But that doesn't change the fact that from a philosophical standpoint, I think work should be work and it should be professional. So, early and ready to go. That doesn't mean you're rolling up and when it's time to start the job, you're still putting on your equipment. Okay? Time is money and you are wasting your boss's money. Now, be focused and don't goof off. You have a job to do. So you're not supposed to be goofing off. Now, many jobs have built-in breaks. Many jobs have difficult focus time and then time where it pulls back. When we're doing the calzone shop, when I was doing that, it's not just go, 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 go all the time. There's downtime and slower time. During that, you can recover your body, recover your mind, and get ready to focus and not goof off when you're needed to. Okay? So it is an unsustainable job, and you're probably going to want to get a new job where you go in and you are on 100% every second of the workday. And if you have a job like that, you are either getting paid so much money that you should, there you go, or it's not a job that you can really sustain for the long term. So be focused when you have to. Don't goof off when you have to. Be early and ready to go. You're expected to collaborate with other employees. You're expected to be friendly. You're expected to work with other people. This is very difficult for some people. And I am in a job where I don't have to do that as much. But even so, well, maybe it's one of the reasons I picked this job. But even so, you are expected to learn how to have positive interactions with fellow employees and when you have to work with them. Learn that skill. You should be positive and presentable, okay? Positivity is a valued value. Don't go overboard, okay? People can sense fake positivity, but being positive and being presentable in your interactions goes a long way, and people notice. Don't start or engage in drama. This is not a reality TV show. It is your reality, but the things that are interesting on reality TV do not end well for you at the workplace. And have appropriate interactions. What are appropriate interactions? Learn them, research them, learn what's appropriate. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Many people are going to have to real quickly learn what appropriate interactions are, because growing up, not everyone learns that, and being in school is an entirely different interacting than at the workplace. So you're going to have to learn real fast what appropriate language interactions is. Some bad behaviors. Cell phone use, too much cell phone use, web surfing when you should be working, okay? Too much chit chat. That's tough because you're supposed to be pleasant with your fellow coworkers. You're supposed to work with them, but if you push that line too much, you're wasting time, you're chit chat, and it doesn't work. Gossip and negativity, nothing will give you a reputation more than being an office gossip or a negative person, okay? You may seem like you're very popular because negativity and gossip is very, very addicting, but it is going to pull you into a place that you don't want to be, and it is going to surround you with other people just like your negative self and your gossip self. This is a pit you don't want to walk or jump into at your workplace. Inappropriate dating in your workplace, okay? This is one of those things where it's very difficult. We set it up for you to be at the workplace for 1/4 of your week. We set it up with the most people you know is at your workplace. And if you happen to be single and don't want to be single, that's that catch-22. The most people you see are typically at the workplace. It is a minefield. It is difficult to navigate. I am not going to say don't date at the workplace. Who am I to say that? The person who met his wife at the workplace. I cannot tell you don't date at the workplace. I can tell you this. Know the workplace's rules. Be very professional about it. Absolutely fully understand the laws of harassment and sexual harassment. Know your workplace rules about dating in the workplace. And if you have to, 100% professional. Never be someone who goes and uses their workplace for meaningless dates to play the field and to be a serial dater that just goes out with everybody. That will never work out. Do not whine. Whine, like many people, one of the biggest things they hate in life is whining children. And what's the difference between a whining child that is so annoying and a whining employee? About 10 or 20 years of age. Other than that, whining employees evoke the same reaction of disgust and no respect. Disgust and no respect that whining children evoke in adults. Whining is really, really bad. And it's not good to play games and politics. Backstabbing your employees, stealing their ideas, sabotaging their career. People do that. People do that to try to get ahead, and in the end, see how that life works out for you. As far as I can tell, it is not a satisfying life. Those are just some of the good characteristics and some of the bad. There are dozens more on each side. Try to pile up all the good working characteristics, and things will work out much, much better for you. Oh, man. A lot of times I've seen it before. They wonder, why am I having a bad work experience? Why aren't things going my way? Why am I not enjoying? I'm like, because you're over here all the freaking time. You're always over here. And you know what? That's just what you're creating. You have so much better work experience and you like it so much and things work out better. Okay. Luck is sometimes what you make of it. And when you're over here, good things happen. Okay. So let's get into the part of the lesson where we discuss stereotyping, harassment, and discrimination in a broad overview sense in the workplace. We'll get it in future lessons. We'll get into it in much more detail. Now, broadly speaking, stereotyping, which often leads to harassment and discrimination, can be separated into two major categories, both illegal and legal. It is illegal to stereotype, which then leads to illegal harassment and discrimination, if the stereotyping is based upon sex, race, religion, ethnicity, color, national origin, disability, LGBTQ, and age over 40, and genetic information too. If this is the broad general list, there could be more depending on state and other factors. So if workplace engages in stereotyping and people at the workplace engage in stereotyping and the stereotypes relate to these protected classes, which is why they are called protected classes, which do give protected characteristics. If the stereotypes happen, then that is leading to potentially illegal harassment and discrimination. Now, there are many characteristics of workers, of people, that are not legally protected. So there can be legal stereotyping and people can think things of you and people may be able to even say things of you and make business hiring and firing decisions based upon what they think of you because of things such as hygiene, clothing choice, your personality or attitude, your political opinions, if it's in the private sector, your opinions on other things, and perhaps your appearance. So if people form a stereotype of you based on any of these or other non-protected characteristics, well, that's entirely legal. If people don't like your tattoos, if people don't like your piercings, if your bosses don't like your choice of deodorant, okay? It's just things that aren't protected by law. If bosses don't like your clothing choice, if it's not based on a protected characteristic, you might say it's stereotyping, but that's not necessarily illegal. Now, being a government employee has some added protections. Because the government is your employee and there's this thing called the Constitution where you are guaranteed free speech, and what free speech really means is the government can't punish you for your speech. That's what literally free speech means. So if you are employed by the government, you have much more of a right of free speech because being fired for certain things that you say would be considered the government punishing you for things that should be a freedom of speech issue. Whereas if you said the same exact things that might be protected in a government job down at your local pizza place, they could fire you, no questions asked, because of your opinions. You don't have freedom of speech in the private sector. And one type of stereotyping that is very common and often very legal is generational stereotyping, where one age of a generation looks at another generation and stereotypes what they think that generation is like and what that person is like because of it. So, little aside, why is stereotyping such a big thing? And the answer is it's a mental shortcut. Humans use this mental shortcut to categorize the world. We're always trying to create maps of reality, and we're trying to exist in a world we create, hopefully reflecting reality, so we can easily and quickly navigate the world. Stereotyping is an immensely powerful, let's say quick shortcut to understanding the world and creating a map of reality. It's quick, but the problem is it often doesn't create a real picture. It lumps people into categories, and it doesn't give you a good picture of reality, and it doesn't give you a good picture of individuals because you instantaneously gave all those individuals around you characteristics because you stereotyped them. Reality and individuality is complex, and it takes time and effort to truly understand the world you live in, and you can't understand fully the truth of where you are and whom you're meeting with and your world if you're busy stereotyping and taking shortcuts mentally. And so this reason of one of the reasons humans create stereotypes will tie the first half of this lesson together with the second half of the lesson. If you as an employee want to bust through these legal stereotypings, if you want to take ownership of the world you live in, one of the things you can do, watch how we do this. If stereotyping is somebody taking a shortcut to create their own map of reality, and why is it bad? Because somebody's putting you in a box somewhere and not letting you tell your own story. They're just taking a shortcut because getting to know who you are and you as an individual takes too much time and is really complex. Well, how do you break through that? How do you not play their game? One of the ways is to be and have the absolute best work habits of anybody in your field, in your workplace. This is only one of the immense benefits of being a great worker with good work habits and avoiding all the bad. There are so many other things that this opens up for you, but one of them is you make it impossible. Because you stand out. You stand out as the person who is this, the person who doesn't do this. You are so unique in your workplace. It is impossible to create a shortcut about you because you have written your own story by having amazing, excellent, and unique work qualities and good habits. You are standing out in a way that makes it impossible to shortcut you into a category. In the future, we delve more into stereotypings and for sure delve much more into illegal stereotypings, illegal harassment, illegal discrimination, how to know it, how to spot it, what to do about it, how to avoid it. All right, thanks for watching.